I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning with my heart beating out of my chest and my gut being eaten alive, thinking, fuck, I'm going to get fired because I picked up this check. I can't sleep. So I turned on the radio. And there was this local fucker on the radio who was talking about UFOs and conspiracy theories, and it was Art Bell. I thought, this guy's fantastic. I wish he was in St. Louis.
That was destiny.
That was destiny. Then about 6 months down the road, he signed on with Chandler Broadcasting System, and he was syndicated, and he was on old 550 KSD here in St. Louis. Both Art Bell Coast to Coast and Dreamland on Monday night. And I thought, this is the dude I heard in Las Vegas. And Art Bell is part of the Holy Trinity of radio. And the Holy Trinity of radio, the kings of talk radio, Art Bell, Howard Stern, Rush Limbaugh. Those are the three. And so I have Art in the studio, looking on from the great beyond, because Art has of course passed.
In the cozy confines of the James Strong studio in western St. Charles County.
Western St. Charles County, that's right.
It's not quite the Front Range, which would be eastern Colorado.
I love Colorado.
I love that state. It's so beautiful. The Rocky Mountains.
We had
all those 14ers.
We had let me tell you a story about Colorado. We had when I worked for the old company, we had a salesman who represented us in Colorado. And he was a good guy. In fact, he was the guy who introduced me to Bombay Sapphire gin and tonics.
Great gin.
Yeah, in fact,
Clean, crisp.
let me rephrase that. He introduced me to shit. What's the Swedish gin? Or vodka, not gin, vodka.
Absolute.
Absolute. Thank you. He introduced me to that. Absolute and tonic is what I used to drink.
Mm-hmm. That was my drink for years.
Me too. Until they pissed me.
Too much sugar.
Nah, they pissed me off. They came up with that ad because they had all these cute ads, Absolute this, Absolute that, which were kind of cool. When they did the ad where it says Absolute Mexico and it incorporated California, Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, and Washington State into the state of Mexico, I said, fuck you, I'm done with you. You're gonna do that to my country and take our money? Fuck you.
Interesting.
Since then I've drank Sky, which is from San Francisco. So
I like Sky vodka as well in the big blue bottle.
That's what I drink now. Absolute's good stuff, but you know what? You're going to diss my country, F you. But anyway, this dude who was in Colorado, good story. He was I'll just say a free spirit. Before he became a salesman.
A lot of free spirits in Colorado.
Yeah. And he was before he became a machine salesman for us with the old business, he drove a beer truck. Okay. So he went from beer truck driver to machine tool salesman. He was truly a free spirit. Good guy. But he had a problem. And basically, his boss came to me and said, look, I need to go out to take care of some stuff out in Colorado with old what's-his-face. And I said, well, what happened? He said, basically, it involves a gun, alcohol, and a titty bar.
I was just going to say an old drunk bitch.
none of which belongs in a call report for a salesman. Basically, what this guy had done, he was finished with his work day, so he went into a Denver titty bar and befriended a stripper. And then some guy tried to, hone in on his girl. He got pissed, went out to his car, got a gun to shoot the guy, but he was so drunk, the gun went off in the car, shot himself in the leg. He bled all over the company vehicle. The police came because they heard the shot, threw him in jail, and the boss basically had to go out there to fire the guy and drive the car home from Colorado.
You sure that wasn't Homer Simpson?
That wasn't Homer Simpson. That was somebody else. But that's but that's the guy who introduced me to Absolute vodka.
Interesting.
Good story. We're 50 minutes into the podcast, and we've really talked about a whole lot and
a whole lot of nothing,
and then nothing else. Which is You mentioned to me about the intellectual dark web.
Yes.
You asked me, what the fuck happened to that?
Yeah. Well, hey, I know that it's not gone, but
It's not gone.
It resurfaces, and then you'll bring in some guest speakers, and you'll talk a little bit about particular subjects, and then it poof. It pulls a Kaiser Sose.
Here's the problem. You work a 9 to 5. I work a 9 to 5. Everybody that's on the show works the 9 to 5. And as Jordan Peterson says, life is hard. It is. And once you're done with a day, it's real hard to get up the gumption to sit in the studio and do a dopey podcast with me. So it's tough to get guests. It really is. I mean, I had to bribe you with steak and booze before you.
It worked.
It worked. Yeah, exactly. And,
but I don't know about this cough medicine.
You don't like it?
I like it, but it's a different drink. It's definitely an after dinner drink.
You don't think it's a before dinner drink?
No.
I think
sip on it.
I think it works better before than after
because it has a very liqueur-ish taste and aftertaste.
Campari is a bitter liqueur, and it doesn't work. I mean, to me, I'm not a big fan of. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'll say I'm not a fan of sweet drinks, and then I love mojitos.
Oh yeah,
I love mojitos.
Mojitos, those are my go-to drink. Like right after a good siesta, before I go to dinner when I'm in Cabo.
Well, I tell you what, that's the reason I grow mint just for mojitos. Well, for mojitos and for mint juleps. Okay, but
and mint smoothies.
That's a bonus. That's a bonus. I really grow them for the mojitos and the caipirinhas. Caipirinhas are actually I don't use mint in caipirinhas. That's something different. But mojitos and mint juleps. In fact, from Goldfinger, the James Bond movie. The thing about when Goldfinger serves Bond his mint julep, Bond mentions he doesn't want so much of the sugar in it. So Goldfinger says, "Is the mint julep tart enough for you, Mr. Bond?" And I'm thinking to myself, a mint julep isn't tart. It's not tart. I mean, Goldfinger is, in my opinion, the best of the James Bond films, but a mint julep isn't tart.
So, of all the Bond films, why would you say that Goldfinger is the best? Or are you saying specifically that Goldfinger himself is the best antagonist?
Yes and yes. Goldfinger is the best villain of all times, played by Gert Farb, the German actor. But it has the two best lines of any Bond film. I mean, every Bond film has a good
one
line.
Has to be when Bond was strapped to the table, getting ready to be cut in half with a laser.
That's one of them. He's spread eagle with a laser coming up against his
laser.
Yeah, it's like the laser's coming to right towards his dick, and basically Bond says, "What, Goldfinger? Do you expect me to talk?" And Goldfinger says, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die." That's a great line out of a Bond movie, but it's not the best. The best line out of any Bond film is when Bond is rendered unconscious and he wakes up looking at Honor Blackman. And Honor Blackman, that's her real name. He says, "Who are you?" And Honor Blackman says, "My name is Pussy Galore." And Bond says, "I must be dreaming." That is the best Bond line of all times. "My name is Pussy Galore. I must be dreaming." That's the best, absolute best of all Bond film lines of all times. And there's others too, but that's the best. That's why Goldfinger's the best. Odd Job, he's the best villain. He's just the best.
He's a good villain. Now,
he is.
I would have to say that the Man Who Never Dies in Live and Let Die was a pretty good villain.
Jeffrey Holder. Jeffrey Holder. He was a great villain. Yeah. He was a great villain. Other great villains. Joseph Weissman, the original one. Dr. No. He was good. That was back in the days when Whitey played Asians. They didn't have Asians to play Asians. Whitey played Asians. That was kind of like a Charlie Chan type of deal.
You know, another good villain was in The Man with the Golden Gun. He's a British fellow.
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee.
Who played Dracula in many of the old Hammer films. Oh, yeah, he was outstanding.
Very astute.
And you remember who his sidekick was?
Oh, sure. It was Hervé Villechaize.
Yeah, Knick-Knack. Monsieur Scaramanga.
The plane.
The plane. Now, another trivia question. The girlfriend of Scaramanga was played by Maud Adams. Oh. Maud Adams was the only woman to play a Bond girl twice.
Yes.
She played Scaramanga's girl.
And she also played another role in Octopussy.
Octopussy. She was
That's
Octopussy. Right. That's right. That's right. And the villain in Octopussy? Oh, fuck. What was his name? French guy.
Mm-mm.
Damn it. I don't have my phone with me, so I can't Google it. The name escapes me. Yeah, Google that if you would. See, this is where Joe Rogan has an advantage over us. He's got
staff.
He has staff. He has Jamie to Google that with the internet all up in it. I need to do that one of these days, but I need to find an angel investor to help me out with that. But what was his name? I can't think of it. Did you find it?
Camel Khan.
No, that was the character was played by him. Camel Khan was that was the character's name, but who played him? He was a French actor. He was at the end of his career. It was a fantastic role. That's all right. Don't worry about it. I should have brought my phone up here with me. I should have done that. But I tell you what, the latest James Bond film. I mean, I guess they're going to release this last one, but they keep having problems because Daniel Craig broke his leg or some shit.
I like Daniel Craig as a Bond.
Yeah,
he's a tougher, meaner, higher action Bond, but he's a bit of I wouldn't say a crybaby, but
I would.
Well, he wasn't.
Not in Casino Royale.
Not in Casino Royale, he wasn't.
But every other one, he becomes more of a titty baby all the time. James Bond should never have mommy issues, and he did in Quantum. Not so much Quantum of Solace, but the other ones. And that last Bond film was a true disappointment. What was the name of it?
Yeah, it was named after the place that he lived at.
Yeah, I forget. Again, shame on me for not having my phone because I'm not worth a shit with memory, but remembering stuff. But I will tell you that the first 30 minutes of that film were fantastic. Filmed in Mexico City with that chase scene and going through Mexico City with all the buildings falling down. Spectre, correct. Thank you. But it was fantastic. The first 30 minutes were unbelievable. After that, dud.
Yeah, I was thinking actually Skyfall. That was before Spectre.
Yeah,
Skyfall was the name of his
the
childhood
home. Yeah, and they had the potential to be very good, but it wasn't. Javier Bardem was the bad guy, which he was
a great bad guy.
He was a great bad
Evil.
guy. But Dame Judi Dench is one of the best actresses of all times. She was a great M, and she died in that film. But Bond with mommy issues, please stop it. Bond doesn't need to have mommy issues.
Agreed.
He doesn't need to have mommy issues. I wasn't a fan of that. And actually, Daniel Craig is making this last film not because he needs the money, but because he understands the last couple of Bond films were duds, and he wants to go out with a bang. So good for him.
Go out on top, absolutely.
I don't know who the new Bond is going to be. There's several people that they're floating. I think it's going to be none of the above. Idris Elba is one fellow that they've been floating, and I don't have a problem with him, except for he's older than Daniel Craig right now.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, so that won't work. I mean, he would have been a good Bond 10 years ago, but not now. They brought in several other people. It's going to be an unknown, like Daniel Craig. But the franchise, I don't think it'll ever die.
No, it's a classic. You know, it has. Well, there's people getting naked. There's people lying, cheating, and deceiving each other.